Spider plants are an easy to care for houseplant that can really spruce up your living area. Today I will be comparing two different methods of propagation for the spider plant, uncommonly known as chlorophytum comosum. The methods we will be comparing are propagation directly in water and propagation in a soil media. Since the soil-based plantlets must work harder to push roots through the media, I expect the spider plants in the soil to produce hardier roots than their watery counterparts. To begin this process, you will want to collect some materials to ensure your success. You'll want a pair of scissors, rubbing alcohol for sterilization, some type of planting media, preferably one with good drainage and plenty of nutrients, and containers for your plants. The containers for your media-based spider plants should have drainage holes, while the container holding your water-bred spider plants should be completely sealed, otherwise the water would all spill out. Make sure your pots are big enough to allow roots to grow too. The plants could choke themselves out if they do not have room to root. Start out by sterilizing your scissors. This will reduce the risk of disease in your spider plant spawn. Now that our supplies are all prepped up, let's take a look at the spider plant we'll be working with. This guy's a real beauty, with 24 spider plantlets ready for propagation. We'll start by cutting off the spider plantlets. When cutting spider plants from the stolon, make sure to cut as close to the base of the plantlet as possible. These stolons will grow new plantlets if left in good condition. Look at these plantlets. The size range is fairly significant, so I've divided the plants into two groups, trying to make sure each group has the same amount of small and big plantlets. Now that the plantlets have been divided up by size, it's time to set up our propagations. Let's first set up the water-based propagules. Water-based propagules are easy to watch for root growth and will root fairly quickly. However, rooting in water will generate thinner roots that have a harder time adapting to solid medias. For that reason, it is important to transplant your plantlets from the water once they have strong roots. Usually a centimeter worth of roots is enough. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will be comparing how the water-based plantlets compare to the soil-based plantlets without transplanting them into soil. Next up are our media-based propagules. Let's pop that media open. For this video, I chose to use 12-12-12 burpee potting mix. This potting mix also contains coconut coir, which is great for regulating the water levels in the pot. But be careful when choosing to use coconut coir-based potting soils. Spider plants cannot tolerate high levels of salinity, so make sure to account for this while planting. To plant your plantlets, dig a hole in your media about 1 inch down. After this, place your plantlet in the hole and pat down the soil around it. After this, give your plants some water. Be careful to keep your plants standing up. Dry soil may take a few seconds to uptake the water, and this could jostle your plants around a bit. Now that our plants are prepared, we will let them rest by the window for the next 2 weeks. Both these will be rewatered 1 week after planting, and then again after 2. Oh boy, it feels like it's been seconds since we last looked at these plants. Now we can look at the results of the propagation and see if these plantlets have what it takes to be plants. And by that I mean roots. When examining the plants that came out of the water, we can see most of them have roots. The largest plant seems to have done the best out of these, with many long roots present. The smallest plantlet seems to have grown some tuberous roots, which is interesting. Moving over to the potted plantlets, we can see they've developed some serious tuberous roots. These roots are huge. I was surprised to see how well they developed over the past 2 weeks. The largest of these also appears to have done the best and has produced some huge and well-established roots. When comparing the water-based and soil-based propagation methods, it is clear that the soil-based propagation produced much hardier roots, but this may also be a result of a lot of different factors, such as the nutrients in the soil or the quality of the water that was used. It is also important to note that the water-based propagation is meant to be transplanted to soil fairly quickly. That means that these young spider plants could very well look like the spider plants from the soil if they had 2 more weeks in soil. I hope that this video provided you with a general overview of how to propagate using soil-based media and directly in water. While spider plants can also be propagated via seeds, splitting, and layering, propagation via plantlet is definitely the most effective and the least labor intensive.